Welcome guys, welcome to another Super G video. I got one per person requested it, so I don't care. So I'll do it, it don't matter to me. So this one takes place late 80s when I first moved down to the city. I don't know why this thing's doing, I can't stay still. It's supposed to be adjustable. Might be why I'm selling it for $10 because there's something wrong with it. You'll have to forgive me, my sinus still continue to give me a hard time. So yeah, this thing moves all over the place. I'm gonna wiggles around. I got it so you might be able to film underneath cars, something. It's a small one. It's only $10, so what do you want? It's aluminum, so I might show it at the end or I may not. So anyways, this one here takes place on, it's a small gas station. I'm going to paint you a picture from the road. Quite a big parking lot. Party store to the left. Across the street, a antique place, which is across the street. To the right of me, across the street, apartment building, corner from that, a funeral home. Yeah. And beyond that was called it Southern Auto, and they rebuilt starters and alternators. So we ended up start installing their product. Yeah, so let me paint the picture. 3 bays, small office. Now the owner, as far as I could figure out, he was from the south. He moved up. He has 3 boys, no girls. He's married. The oldest one was okay. So when I moved to the city, I'm trying to think back on video, so I could talk it out easy. But so I moved down. I stayed with my wife's grandma, and then I went, because I came from a small town. So I went out, drove my car that way, and drove my car that way one day. And then I drove my car a little bit farther the next day, and a little farther, until I kind of get just about how it's set up. And then it's pretty much set up like a wagon wheel. It's downtown Detroit area, which is the downtown Detroit area, which I'm trying to remember, like Jefferson or something, I don't know. And then there's Woodward Avenue. It runs right out through Royal Oak. That's where we're staying at. So I drove around and figured it all out and said, oh, okay. So the next door neighbor's parents, dad, was friends with my wife's grandmother. And so she said, hey, he's looking for a job. And she said, oh, he does, huh? Yeah, well, he's got some little bit of automotive experience in his background. Oh, really? Well, we're looking for somebody. We can't find nobody. I have just my own tools, which weren't very much. And they said, oh, we don't worry about tools. We have our own toolbox and all that. So I came down there and interviewed, and he said, yeah, I need somebody to work the second shift, so you come in till 10. I think it was like 10 o'clock till 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And then we work Saturday from 8 till 2, maybe 3. Could be later than that. Depends on if you wanted to leave early. Not like, what else was I going to do? So we made money. And then we finally got our own apartment and la la la. But this is not so much over on that side of it, the apartment side. It's just about the place. So I'm continuing to paint the place. So, okay, so their tow truck vehicles. This is what they had. They had an old, this is yellow. This is the same equipment that his dad had. Now, I never met his dad. His dad, this gentleman is a, have to be nice. You never know, somebody might see this and I don't want him to get all bent out of shape about it. He was a Shriner. And it's my first experience with Shriners. And the TV paints a great picture of them, and I did. You know, that's a club, and you can't, you know, you have to go through membership to get in that club, and you have no idea what really happens in the club, other than the outside appearance that everything's cool. And you couldn't tell any difference in whatever. Holidays come around, they didn't celebrate the holidays as far as I remember. For whatever reason, I never got into that to see why. They kind of acknowledged them. I mean, if you wanted to have like Christmas and I think I remember going down there for Thanksgiving, but Christmas, New Year's, they love to drink, so they had New Year's off. They like to drink. We always had like Christmas parties and things like that. So anyways, trying to get back. Okay, so they had Linneman Tools. He took it over from his dad when his dad passed away. He worked for his dad there before his dad passed away from cancer or something to the effect. And my grandma would take her car there and get fixed, so that's how we were able to, relate. Beside the neighbor. So, the vehicles they use for towing. 4-wheel drive Jeep. Mid-70s. Yellow. Blue boom. To engage the winch, to drop the sling in the back. I guess that's, I can't remember the name of this thing anymore. You had to, kick it like this, kick it backwards. It was like a 4-speed, and I had a boost thing on the back, so we were like I think it was a AAA location. So I went out on some calls, not very many, just local, boost people's cars that were dead in the garage and things like that. I did quite a lot of that. I didn't go on tow trucks, towing till like later, and I worked for them for about 3 years, I think, maybe 4. I'm trying to cut this down, but it just a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff. And so we would work on cars, and he didn't seem to care if, like somebody would bring their car in and they would didn't want the cylinder head pulled off, but I could put valve seals on it. And now, I was working underneath, at that time I was working underneath his certification. And he never, maybe a couple different times he ended up going to court for some reason or other, but he didn't seem to have an issue with that. So I put valve seals on a car and got it to smoke less, run better. Build it out, people are happy with it. It went on, things like that. Lots of brakes, and the oldest son was he had all the equipment. I mean, sir, literally, Dad bought him all the equipment to rebuild carburetors. He added all over there. Everything. And I kid you not, he added it all. And, I was just know that much about it because, I don't know, I just didn't know much about it. I learned more and more and more, because working on more and more vehicles, the longer you're doing it, I work in my own stuff. This is, little tiny stuff. Another time I'll show you the vehicles I had and the problems I had, and I've had people comment, well, if I had your money, I'd throw your money away. I didn't have much, I still don't have much money, but it looks like it because I go, I save my money up, and then I go buy a tool, and so it looks appearance, I'm not getting money for YouTube. I haven't got there yet. I have a full-time, I have a part-time job, but the last ones have been full-time jobs. So I have, that's where I get my money, is I go to work. YouTube is, I don't know how these guys are doing it. They really got to push all their stuff and this, that, and the other, and they got to work a full-time. They're putting more hours. Some of them, not all of them. Majority of them are not doing nothing, hardly anything. They might have done something at the beginning, but now they're not. But now here I am, whoops, and saying something about somebody else, and so I don't know. I don't know. They did some good videos and got on the star chart, on the 5-star chart, so everybody knows who they are, and all of a sudden now they're reporting. Everybody wants to be there, meet them, and everything else, because we're gonna go see somebody else this summertime. Somebody that's real popular now, and whatever. I'll let him. My boy wants to go see him, and he ain't gonna go see him by himself, so I'll go see the guy. He's just a guy who he puts the pants on the same way, or maybe he puts his under on backwards, and that's why he's so hung-strung. I think he's just young and got a lot of energy, and okay. And he's got a following, and everybody thinks he's God's gift to everybody, whatever. So anyways, way off there. So I would use that truck, and there's no parking brake, so it would roll. I think I had a block in the back that we'd like get it out and throw the block behind the wheel to keep it from rolling. So we did a lot of that. What was it? I was the main, after 4 o'clock, the main people would leave. The owner's son, which was the middle son, would come in because he already had a job. He would come in the evening along with me, so I would pump fuel, clean up the garage, putz around, and then he would go off and do some towing. So one of the biggest towing thing was, it was a Pontiac up in Main Street in Royal Oak. There's a Jim Fazard's Pontiac. Now they had a contact with Jim Fazard that they could tow all. They would send them out to tow a car. They get a PO, and they would go out and tow their cars up to their lot. Now the other option I noticed was, if it was some kind of car that I don't know, it might have been, they might have got a hold of Fazard's used this place, and then that car ended up at our facility getting work. So I don't know how that all went. You know what I'm saying? Were they intended to bring it up to them, or did they not just refer us as when I was working for them, the towing, So who knows how it all went out. Wasn't on that side. So he'd be gone. Sometimes he'd go way downtown and pick something up, bring it back. He'd be gone a couple hours, come back. We always closed at 10, so I had to go around and bring all the tow trucks that were there in. He always seemed to be there to help me do that. And he would help me lock it up and then leave, or I'd stay there. Sometimes I'd stay there like 20 minutes after. And I don't remember if there was a time clock or not. I want to say there was a time clock, though, but maybe not. So anyways, we had the same hours pretty much every week. So, and I don't even know what I got paid. It wasn't much. $8-10 an hour, maybe. $7-8 an hour. It really wasn't much back then. And so I spent half my time just pumping fuel because it was a Sunoco gas station. It didn't say it was Paul's Sunoco. And so we did that. There's the one gentleman that had a limp. He was from, let me paint a picture of exactly who the people are. The owner had glasses, medium spit, not much hair. The son, the oldest son, had no hair. Middle guy was real thin, had a full set of hair. Real nice guy. Brad was his name. Then the youngest guy that never came there to work, he was still in school. Wiry little guy. And he was fine. And then the mother was a skinny little runt, just like this, almost the same thick, same, you know. Yes, as the mother. And I think they had some. I don't know if grandma was still alive or not. I can't remember. All right. So when I started there, let's see. There was the guy that had the limp. And then there was a cousin of his or some relative of him. So this guy here that had the limp, he moved here. He moved to Michigan from California, and all he did was talk about California. Bakersfield, 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 Bakersfield. Everything was. I'd go nonstop. How great Bakersfield was, and why did he move here? He was married. He lived in Warren, Michigan, down by the automotive plants, in a real nice neighborhood. No, it wasn't. He was a friend of mine. He needed a friend. He worked on lawnmowers, and he sold lawnmowers, and you know, I worked on a little bit of them. You know, I didn't do it all the time, and he would wheel and deal lawnmowers and all that stuff. It's like, whatever. And so, anyways, they were towing cars and working on cars and towing cars, and so, anyways, they sent me one time in the evening now. Go down on Southfield Freeway and pick up this potty and bring it back. Now, I haven't done that much, okay? So I drove all the way down there. So we're on 11 Mile Road, and Southfield Freeway is about 7 Mile Road. So you had to drive over like 4 miles over. So I was 10 miles away. So I get down there and get on the exit and get on the on-ramp. Instead of, you know, traffic's all backed up at that time of day. I mean, backed up. So I get on, I move over. I go down, I'm too far over because it was all jammed up. And then I find the car, and then I can't get to it. So I get around, go back. I did that, I don't know how many times. I couldn't never get to it because traffic was jammed up. And I was new at it. Just give me the break, I was new at it. After gone for 2 hours, I came back. They wouldn't send me on no toes no more. Imagine that. It worked out perfect, didn't it? I didn't do it to do that. It's just my it's the stupidness of me, guys. It's the stupidness of me. One of the jumpers. What did they have? They're real cheap. They didn't want to spend any money on a truck. So they got a Ford cabin chassis. They had a lift put on the back. Was a wheel lift. This is the wheel lift. It went out. It had two pieces like this that folded in, and they folded out, and it had 2 bars that went through. So I went over to a small body shop that worked for that place and picked this car up. Picked it up at the back end. Left it in neutral because I didn't go that far. Oh, I think it was a manual transmission. I think that's why I was able to pick it up at the back. Did not put the straps over the wheels. So You got 11-mile road, 10-mile road, 10.5-mile road. So I'm coming across 10.5-mile road, over 75, and the truck goes up and the truck goes over, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, it's pretty late in the back, and I look and the car bounced off and rolled back. I'm going this way. It bounced off and started rolling back that way, and I looked and went, oh my gosh, it's going to hit a car. It did not hit a car. I kid you not. So you know the guards to keep people from driving over the edge, and then there's on each side of it, there's like for pedestrians to walk over top instead of getting down the road. It drove up that, it bounced, hit that, rolled up, and rolled right beside. It rolled right beside that curb. Now it was backwards, what I'm thinking. Yeah, it was backwards up there, so I couldn't get in the driver's door. So I had to pull up there, get some kind of hook around it, pull it down off there, put it back. Imagine what people are thinking. They're going over and I'm dragging this car off. Well, you know, it's a tow truck dragging a car off. They don't know if the owner just backed his car up on the curb, or unless you were there, unless you were behind me when that car came off there and bounced off and rolled up there, he wouldn't have thought the difference. So anyways, I hooked it up, drove it up there. I don't think it had any damage to it. I'm trying to remember. I would remember if I, like scraped the whole side. But I had to tell somebody. When I took it to the place, I had to tell them that I did that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just too honest, dude. I don't survive in these places very long, because most people wouldn't even tell them. He would just pull it up there, and then all of a sudden it'd be all smucked, and then somebody would say, oh, it must have got hit in the parking lot, and it wasn't me, and all that jazz. So and then they didn't let me use that bounce lift anymore, which is good, because I didn't care for it. It was just so cheap. The whole back of the truck, when you had something on the back end, the whole back of the truck would hang down. It was just an add-on wheel lift that was cheap. Now the middle truck that they used so much, it was a 4-wheel drive Ford. It didn't seem like it was very beefy. But I think it was. I think it was a 250. Because I remember when you had some vehicles on the back, it didn't seem to bend down. Now, it also had a boost unit on it. We're talking about boost unit is. Started up on there, and you kicked this lever, and it had cables running out, and you just, it's a jump unit to jump people's vehicles, because when they were for AAA, no given winter, you were out doing. Sometimes you were doing the same cars. You were out doing the same cars almost at least twice, 3 times a week, the same cars, because they never would put a battery charger on, and you tell them to bring it down because you don't drive it. Bring it down to the place. We run a battery charger out there. We run a wire out and put a battery charger on. We tell them, hey, if you get a battery charger there, when we boost it, it runs and everything's great. We'll help you put the battery charger on, and they would never do it. Never. No, you'd be there. Oh, I got AAA and I got unlimited towing, and oh, I ain't getting no battery charger. I ain't spend that kind of money. I got a stench cord. Why don't you let me borrow your charger? And I'm like, we have this big unit that we're not going to bring the $200 battery charger to your house. Well, we're good, you know, we get our car fixed all the time there. Like, so one time out of 6 months or 9 months, they get some little tiny, the door handle breaks or whatever else, and they're good customers. All right. So, you know, it was interesting. I don't even know how long we're into this one, but yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Trying to remember about a story. There was a gentleman, Romanian, that lived in those apartments across the street. His name was George. He always came over. He could barely walk. He go, "How you doing, buddy? How's things going today, buddy?" I said, "Oh, doing good." And, "Oh, yeah." He would sweep around there. He'd make sure the coffee was good, and he'd empty the ashtray, and he was good friends with the owner. Them guys who like sometimes would go to the bar, and I think I think that we would go up, and I think I'd take him, but he would buy me. I would come over like once a month and pick him up at his house, and we go to, I think we'd go to a little bar, and he'd buy me a hot dog or chips or whatever else, and we'd have a drink, and it was an outing for him. And I didn't have any children. My wife was working all the time. She worked out, you know, she worked that third shift, so she was sleeping during the daytime, and you know, all that. We're get together. I don't think we were married yet, and so you know. So anyways, then they hired a new guy. They hired a new guy, and he was friends with the owner's son, and he was a taxi cab driver. So he ended up being a tow truck driver. So he was a main tow truck driver because he knew the whole area because he was a taxi driver. And he's pretty cool. He was pretty good. His name was Steve. He was married and had one child. And he lived probably, I don't know, north. He was, if we're on 11 Mile Road, he lived way on 14 Mile Road. Wasn't that, you know, it was far enough away. I mean, I just lived right, we rented, so we were just renting houses not too far from there, until we were able to find something to buy. And then this one guy, he lived in Hazel Park. I cannot say, his name was Junior Keith. Tall, skinny, hillbilly. Right from Tennessee. Let me try to explain it. He had long curly hair. He had something like he got burnt. He had a red discoloration on one side of his cheek. He was like all the girls, you know, he would flirt with all the girls, so they all like, you know, were all available to him. He drove a cat. He bought a car, and then he bought the boss's Cadillac. The boss had a Cadillac, an old 68 Cadillac that he had for the longest time. Well, he bought that, polished it up, this, that, and the other. We were friends. I would come down to his house. We really didn't do anything. You know, I'd go down there and hang around him and his wife and his boy, and we'd hang around and we just talk, whatever. I'd go down and see him. It wasn't not too far away from the Hazel Park track. It wasn't too far away from that. I never was to the track. We're talking about horse tracks. If you're not understand what I'm talking about, most people don't understand what I'm talking about. I didn't have that kind of money to do that kind of stuff, so I just put money into all my projects. That would be the way I could burn my money. So anyways, we were friends. He said, "Hey, you know, I used to go down on Woodward Avenue." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You want to go down with me some night at like 10 o'clock at night?" I'm like, "Well, my wife's working tonight, so it don't matter." He says, "Okay." So we're cruising Woodward Avenue, and he's like, "Hey, there's a working girl there. You want to go talk to her?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not interested. I mean, if you're interested, go ahead." he went over there and was flirting with him, talking nonsense with him, and I don't even know if he got a price on it or whatever. And you know, they all look, wow. So anyways, enough of that. But we'd do that, and I was like, goodness gracious. And you know, Woodward Avenue, I don't know if you went off Woodward Avenue down there, down from like 7 Mile down through there, Outer Drive and all, I think Outer Drive right across there. Finkel and all that down there. You go down through there, it's not saying you're not gonna have a problem because you're in the wrong neighborhood. You're not the right color to be in that neighborhood, and you shouldn't be in there. And they know that you're lost. They do have some friends down there, but they know somebody half a decent car in the wrong neighborhood. You're in the wrong neighborhood, and why are you here? So, yeah, that's pretty much the story on that one. The guy, like I said, so one of the things, because him being Masonic or in that group, we had the admissions, let's see, what's that? They had the AET testing done. So I had my certificate. He had to pay us, I think he paid us extra to do that. Every time he did one of those, he paid you like $2 to do that, I think. And you had to keep track of that. But he wanted to do it, and he wanted his son to do it. And then there was a stipulation that you had to spend $78. So if it didn't pass, you had to pay $78. Okay? So his car, or he knew of a car that would always pass. And you're saying, oh, wow, this sounds kind of shady. Well, it was kind of shady. Now, all his friends in the group would give him the information for their car. And, you know, and that happened quite a lot. I don't think they have that down there. I've not heard any of that down there, but we would put $78 into a car and run it on the test and record before and after, and it had to be some sort of an improvement, which most of the time if you had new plugs in it and you had wore out plugs, you know, it made it run better. You need to do a little bit of tweaking to, you know, it had to have a certain RPMs when it's idling, coming down, and you know, it had, you know. So anyways, that was the weirdest thing, is how the cheating going on. I guess that's called cheating going on. And that's nothing not ordinary that's going on right now, I'm sure. Majorly cheating. But yeah, I might think of some more. The other job I had, I did not describe any of the employees in there, and some of the stuff that was doing towards the end of the closing of that place, the stuff that shouldn't be done in a repair place to make extra money. You know what I'm saying? I got that. If you guys are interested in hearing about that, it might not be a whole lot because I did tell most of the story. And there might be more to this. There might be more to this. Like I said, I got back into towing. I did some more towing for them. Mainly with the black truck. I did some of the red after that period of time left that, after I got the full ear of you need the straps on the thing when you tow it. you can't tow it without that because it's just no. You got lucky. You got the old lucky that you didn't wipe out the whole side of the car, and that we had to come on, dig in your pocket, have you fix that, or just find another job. So, because I was still working there after that happened, but that's what we got for the video. One of the videos on that was my very first job. All right, we're gonna title this Don's the Super G's very first job in the big city. That's what we'll title this. All right. Hopefully I won't remember more. I have to try to piece it all in because it just won't look the same if I piece stuff in. All right. So we got. Sorry, we're in the cloud. You know, I might want to take and put a white sheet up there, or even turn the light on. But it's beautiful yesterday. Beautiful yesterday. I'm still hacking. I'm still hacking. I'm doing better, but I think I'm just gonna end up with another one. I think I'm just got done with the one and still hacking a little bit, but you know, the grass hasn't started growing yet. It's barely green. We still got snow and ice and everything else all over the place. So yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Welcome new subscribers. Appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. I'm really gonna get back to working on some stuff. I got a lot of stuff. It's a lot of scrap I gotta take apart, but I need to get back on some cars and do some videos because you guys are watching. You guys subscribe to my channel to watch my videos, not to listen to my stories. But I appreciate it while I'm recouping. I got like 16 days till I get my weekend off. Maybe I can help refocus on getting back to doing something. Maybe when it's warmer out, and I can refocus on doing some pretty nice, doing some videos. They're not that great, but I appreciate all your support. Thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you in the next one.